So, you know that person. They're brilliant technically. Nobody in the room is smarter, and somehow nobody in the room knows exactly what they built because they've never had to learn how to explain it to a general population. They can maybe get it across to other technical people just fine, but let's say a business person, they don't need the whole rundown. They need it packaged. That used to be kind of fine. You didn't have to explain yourself too terribly well. You didn't have to be too easy to follow. Somebody else would handle your brilliance and turn it into English for everybody else. Your manager, most likely, somebody whose job it was to translate you, maybe a principal. I'm Darian, and today I want to talk about why that's completely dying out. It's not dying because the industry had some amazing change of heart for soft skills, quote unquote soft skills. It's dying because of AI, which is maybe the last place anybody expected communication to become the most important skill in the room. This is Head First, and let's get into it. I want to be upfront about something. Communication is not a personality trait. I hear people talking about it like it's something you're either born with or you're not. You're either a people person or you're not. That's not true at all. It's a skill. It's a genuinely difficult skill. I've worked on mine for years, years. And I'm very proud to say at this point that people commend me for it, for the communication, for emotional intelligence. But I want to be clear that it took a lot of work to get here. I still catch myself getting it wrong sometimes, or having something land not quite the right way, or having to double back. Everyone I know does the exact same thing. We all make mistakes. Here's the thing though, in tech specifically, you didn't need that skill to be as polished as other people like sales. If you wanted to be a career senior engineer forever, you didn't need the same communication skills as someone heading towards management or eventually, running the whole place, maybe. Software engineers have had this moniker for kind of ever, it feels like, that we're not great at talking to people on average. There was a time where you could spot one of us from across the room because you had the same wavelength almost. Before you even say a word, you're like, I peg you. I know exactly who you are. And look, there are exceptions. There are people who were great at both, but they're a little bit fewer and far between. That was fine because the system was kind of built around it being fine. If you were a good person and you did good technical work, you could lean on the people around you, like your manager, maybe a staff or principal engineer, to help you do the translating. That was the original arrangement, if you will. I don't want to call it gate kept. Nobody was standing at a door saying, "You may not pass without communication skills." But you would hit a wall. And it was the same in yesteryear as it is now. You would hit it really fast and more visibly than you would like, the higher you tried to go without it. There's a whole other conversation here about how differently you have to talk to people. So a business audience wants something completely different from you than a room full of engineers do. It's pretty real, it's not you being fake. It's not being a chameleon. It's a big enough skill that it's going to get its own episode. So I'm going to leave that here for right now. Just pack it up in a box. Okay. Communication was never required to be able to survive in tech, but it was required to be seen. So here's the popular narrative right now. The thing that you'll hear people say in every one of those "what AI can't replace" conversations. AI can't take the human stuff, the feelings, the communication. And yeah, sure, partially true. I think people are stopping one step too early on that idea because here's my pushback, if you will. The technical understanding does not disappear either. It's just changing shape. You don't need to hold every tiny little syntax rule in your head anymore, which is awesome considering how many different languages there are and how things change. But you still need enough technical understanding to look at what AI hands you and know whether it's actually good or not. That particular skill is not going away. And if anything, it's carrying more weight than it used to. Now, you're signing off on more output faster than you ever were writing it by hand. I see this with junior folks as well. It's not just does the code work anymore, it's did I consider the right things? It's a communication question as much as a technical question. So it's interesting how these things bleed in together nowadays. You have to be able to articulate what you checked, what you didn't, and why. Let me give you some actual numbers because this is happening right now and not some hypothetical future. There's testing out of Veracode that found something like 45% of AI generated code samples introduce real known security vulnerabilities. That's 45%. And that number hasn't been improving. There's a project out of Georgia Tech, actually. Woo woo, go Georgia. Uh, Georgia Tech tracking security falls directly tied to AI coding tools. There were 6 of them in January, 15 in February, and 35 in March. And it's not plateauing, it's a curve. Separately, this actually got me a little bit. Companies found that developers using AI assistants were committing code 3 to 4 times faster than anybody else, but introducing security problems at 10 times the rate. Here's the thing, those aren't really AI failures, in my opinion. They're validation failures. Somebody didn't ask the right follow up question. Someone didn't look at the code that was produced. Somebody didn't communicate precisely enough with the tool about what they actually needed, not just what the AI thinks they need or what they think they need. Somebody didn't catch what it handed back before they shipped it. Look at the AI generated code before you put up that PR every single time. If you don't, that's on you. You're not just wasting your own time, you're wasting your team's. AI didn't remove the need to understand your systems. It actually raised the price of not communicating with them clearly. I think about that every time I review something AI hands me now. It's not paranoia, it's the job. The same way checking your junior's PR was always the job. The tool changed, the responsibility didn't. So that's the why now. That's the whole episode's job, if you will. So the rest of this is going to be the how. How you actually talk to different audiences without feeling fake or performing. How to talk to AI, because spoiler alert, it is not the same skill as talking to a person, even though it feels like it should be. And what all of this means as you're trying to move up and figure out where you actually stand in it. Here's what I want to leave you with today. The people who were already good at explaining things clearly, the ones who could say the same thing in 5 different ways depending on who was in front of them, they were never doing something soft or a lesser version of the job. A lot of the time, they were doing it better than anyone else. Those were the people that got promoted fast or got the recognition that you might not know how to get because you don't know how to communicate with different audiences. Good engineers with good communication skills have been sitting right there the whole time. We just overlooked these skills in favor of pure technical skill for a long time. I don't think we get to keep doing that anymore. I think the industry is catching up to the fact that a part of it was the job all along. I'm Darian Glauser, and this is Head First.